Hey guys, what's going on? Legion Rudy here playing more RuneScape Dragonwilds. Welcome to our Data Gaming XP Grind episode 106. So today we're going to be working on range a little bit as we obviously want to level this up. And we're going to be doing this in the Storm Touched Highlands as there's lots of sheep and ram out here. And it seems like it's dark, but it's not. I think there's just a little bit of cloud coverage out here. So obviously we've got quite a bit of ways to go to really get to level 50. Not an incredible amount of work here, but obviously we want to get to level 50 and just keep increasing our XP in range, obviously, so that way we can hit level 50 and then just continue to work on getting XP. So really enjoying range so far in the game. As I've talked about quite a bit, I think that it's probably my favorite combat skill. And I've also sort of didn't really think that I was going to enjoy the crossbow as much as I have. I feel like it's a lot better than other attack styles, and then also really just the bow used to be my favorite when I was sort of shooting down Renaissance. But the thing of it is, I actually quite enjoy the crossbow a lot more than the regular bow, and I think that's because you sort of got to lock in with the target lock a little bit more to really truly be accurate with the bow. So I've really quite enjoyed using a crossbow, and we're going to continue to use that. I think it's going to be quite a bit of help with fighting new creatures in the game, but we're really going to have to wait and see because obviously I'm not sure if they plan on adding strengths and weaknesses or things like that, but they actually might. So if that's the case, range. Well, I guess you might have different kinds of bolts, right? So potentially that actually um, could play a large factor, but for the most part, it actually makes it a little bit tricky because now I'm going to sort of have a problem with basically deciding, obviously I've got to still level it up, other combat styles, so having to switch from range is going to sort of be a bummer. But since range just came out, we're going to be putting in a lot of time with range, but I don't want the other attack styles to sort of get lost in the mix because we really didn't work on magic all that much. But then again, I really don't ultimately like that a whole bunch. So I think we're just gonna sort of have to wait and see. But I obviously have to keep working on magic, and I'm gonna have to keep getting XP in that. So um, overall, it just seems like range is the most effective and easiest thing to do. You can sort of block as well. I don't think you can hold a shield while you've got your staff, so that makes it a little less enticing. Really, let me actually check. I don't think you can. Let's take a look. No, you can't see. So ultimately, it makes it a lot less favorable for me. I think that when you're fighting these creatures in the storm-touched highlands, not really the sheep and ram, but really the garu, having a shield is actually really important. And obviously, you can use melee, but you're obviously going to need to get magic XP. And but you can see here because we picked up a lot of resources, our inventory is actually almost full already. So that's where we sort of just start shooting all the sheep and ram and then leaving resources on the ground. And then at a later time, we can sort of pick them up. But ultimately, we're about halfway to our next level, which I think is going to be level 48. But there's so many resources and our inventory's full. So we're probably going to leave them on the ground, which is what we've been doing and just sort of focusing on XP. Let's go ahead and kill this sheep if we could actually shoot him, and he sort of changed direction, so that's really unfortunate, but we finally got him. So many sheep and ram out here. Obviously this is going to be good for animal bones. We can use those for cooking. No, I don't think we get animal fangs out here. That's more something you get from rats, which I really don't kill that often, but I think that's something I'm going to have to switch up because obviously you're going to be getting the ichor now from the putrid rats, which is going to be an important resources and poisoning arrows. So that's something we're going to have to spend more time doing. But not right now, obviously. We're trying to focus on the sheep and ram here. I can't believe I missed that shot. We did get him there. So ultimately, this is just easy XP and it's my favorite thing to kill, really, the sheep and ram. Obviously, there's not a huge variety of what you can kill, so it's not like I've got a huge choice, but I'm not complaining, really. I actually really like killing the sheep and ram, and then sometimes you're actually going to wander into some Garu, but that used to be a really big problem, and we used to try to avoid it at all costs, but now we really don't have to worry about that because range allows us to sort of defend ourselves in sort of a different way. So I'm really happy about that. And I just keep missing this sheep. Hopefully he doesn't startle all the other sheep and then create a problem with that. Let's see, we completely missed that one as well. We've got that plant down there. I'm just a terrible shot today. I don't know what's going on. We got him before he got away. That's great. And then there's the dire wolf, which has been sort of appearing out here, which is really not normal. But I'm actually quite happy because I didn't have a lot of those resources from that creature because we didn't really spend a lot of time killing dire wolves. They're sort of really rare. So it was quite nice to actually run into him a few times that I have. And he also gives a lot of XP. So if you actually do see him and you're in a position that you can actually fight him safely, I would definitely recommend it. So getting quite a bit of XP here. And as you can see, all these resources are just going to stay on the ground, and then we can just pick them up at a later time. But we've got this guy who seems to have noticed us, and we've also got a ram coming with him, so that's actually not ideal, but I think for the most part we should be okay because he's already dead. So but yes, this XP bar you can see is just filling up so fast. So I think this is probably going to be the fastest way to level up range, aside from, I believe that's it. I mean, just running around and using your lodestones if you've got them placed as I do, which I don't think a lot of people really would have them placed like I do. I just really have this like this because I sort of farm in this area quite a bit for resources, mostly essence, but we're obviously going to pull these up once Felhalo comes to the game. We don't need to have this insane amount of lodestones. We really just did that because we were trying to sort of get XP faster, and now we don't really need to focus as heavily on it. I'm trying to get to the lodestone. I just saw all these sheep and ram, and I don't think that was it, but we'll take it. We will take it, and we will kill these sheep and ram and get more range XP. So I think that we're going to actually get this level a lot faster than I realized. So I think what we're going to do is potentially go kill some putrid rats to get the rest of the XP. I think that makes a lot of sense. But look at all these resources, just an insane amount, and there's still so many more on the ground. So let's go ahead and go to the Whispering Swamp and see if we can't find some putrid rats, which I don't really see any. This is usually a really good place right here. Sometimes they spawn in a pretty good amount. It looks like there's some over here, so that's quite nice. But I believe Ica is pretty rare. Obviously, you get them from killing putrid rats, but that means you're going to have to farm them at quite a heavy rate. So you're definitely going to have to take some time and do that. And then if you're out here killing these, it would actually make sense to pick up swamp tar. Just so that way you've got extra, so that way you can make the napalm, which is actually not called that, but which allows you to make fire arrows. But I really don't. Ultimately, yeah. So you're gonna want to pick up all the swamp tar if you want to make those. I've got quite a bit already banked, so I'm not really that worried about it. I probably should stock up extras, but ultimately, I don't really want to get too caught up on that because I feel like there's still so many things else I need to be working on. So, obviously, there's plenty of time before Felhalo comes to the game, so we've sort of got time to do a lot of different things. But I'm gonna kill this goblin. He'll give me a goblin pack, and then there's gonna be quorum in there. But we're not gonna be opening up those, which we've already talked about quite a bit. We obviously want to save all those for when farming comes to the game. I believe there's going to be quite a bit of seeds in those, but I'm not sure. So that's sort of just a gamble on that. But let's see. I was just going to mention something. Yes, so if you want swamp tar and you don't really want to have to do it in the way of picking it up off the ground, you can actually check the chests out here. There's actually quite a bit of swamp tar in these. You can see here. So I think that's actually probably a lot faster than picking it up off the ground. And then I believe if I'm not mistaken, the rats actually drop swamp tar too, I think. We don't want to get poisoned here. We're actually dangerously close to getting poisoned. It's not going to kill us. But still, if we can avoid it, I think that's really the smart bet. So let's see if we could. There's another rat. There's two of them. So I think it really makes sense to potentially go over there. I just don't want to because then I've got to sort of make my way back to get to the teleporter, lodestone. But I guess we'll go over here. We got to pick up this stuff anyway. I guess it's worth it. And if you can find the king rat, I don't think that's his name. I can't quite remember. But he'll actually give you swamp tar as well, I believe. He's somewhere out there. We're not going to go hunting for him deliberately, but ultimately, let's go ahead and head back to the lodestone. What's going on over there? Sort of saw some weird colours in the tree. I guess it's nothing. So let's go ahead and sort of go around here and see if we can't find a little bit more rats. I don't really see any. Let's see how much. We've only got two, see, the poison echo. So I think it makes sense to sort of hunt rats if you can, if you've got a little bit of free time, as it's not the easiest thing to get. And I think having poison arrows is going to be really important in Fell Hollow, fighting the higher level creatures. It might not really be that useful currently. There's a rat way over there. I really don't want to go kill him. I feel like that's such a long way to go for just one. But we'll just do it just for the sake of trying to get more Ica. Let's see. One shot kill. There's another one, see? So I guess it's a good thing we came over here. It's also worth noting that they're also giving a little bit of animal fangs, which can be used for cooking. So I think that makes it worth it overall. And there's another one. I'm doing terrible right now, and now I'm poisoned. That was terrible. My accuracy right now is all wrong. We've got another one here. All right. So it doesn't look like there's any more over here, I don't think. And just sort of take a glance out there. I see a goblin in the swamp. So let's see. So it's out with 3 Ica. So it's really not that much. I'm not sure how many arrows you can just poison with the one. I don't recall. But let's go kill some more things out here. I'm being hunted. So this is not fun. Even though I've got range, it's still a really unfair fight. So we're going to teleport away. We got lucky with that one. It almost killed us. We're going to go to sleep. As we really don't like to hunt at nighttime, I feel like it just doesn't make sense. It's too dangerous. So let's put all this stuff away. And then get back to it after we go to sleep. All right, let's go. So let's go back. We've also got to start shooting down our essence, so that way we can start farming that again. I guess it's also worth noting that we did recently work on rune crafting, and we've got a ridiculous amount of rune essence banked, but we haven't really started to take care of that yet because it's just so much. And I feel like we're just trying to sort of work on range again because we want to reach level 50. So that almost filled up our entire inventory right there. We've got to shoot that sheep. There we go. So we got our level in our range. We're level 48 now. So that's actually rather nice. Obviously, we could probably work on range behind the scenes, but I really don't want to do that. I sort of want to level up on the episodes. I think it just, there's a little bit of satisfaction from doing that rather than just sort of knocking it out behind the scenes. I rather enjoy getting levels that I can actually see, because a lot of the levels that I've got actually are not seeable right now because we've got all this XP that's going to put us way past 50, and ultimately I don't get to see myself level up all that often, to be quite honest, because it's all extra XP at this point until they raise the cap. So anytime I can actually get a level that I can see, it's a pretty big deal. There's not really much of that left currently, so I think it's rather exciting. But our inventory is full, I believe, again, so now we can just sort of run around and shoot for a little bit. Ah, there we go. We've got a wolf in the mix now, so that's quite nice. But there's so many sheep and ram, and so I'm probably going to head back to my base here in a second. maybe sort of put some things in some chests, and then got to run this way. There's a big group of bad guys over there, and I don't really want to deal with them right now. So for the most part, we got them. That was such a good shot. My aim is getting a little bit better, so that's quite nice. It's unfortunate when I just miss every shot. Oh boy, so many sheep and ram, and I don't really want to leave them. It's tricky for me because I sort of hoard resources, and it's really hard for me to leave resources behind, even though I've got so many. It sort of becomes an addiction, I think, to basically killing a ridiculous amount. And now we've got an archer after us. That was quite a cool block right there. I don't even know if I'd call it a block, but this is terrible. I'm sort of getting shot all around. Oh, I might actually die right here. Terrible. Gotta block this. I died. I was blocking. That's so weird. His shot went through. Was not expecting to die right there. That's 100% for sure. I just thought, let's put our shield up and we should be okay. And clearly that's not the case. So let's go get our body. And then I guess that's a good stopping point for... I guess I can't leave right now, actually. There's too many sheep and ram, but my inventory's full, so I guess I don't really get a say in the matter. So we're headed back to base to sort of sort through a couple things we got, and then do an XP update. And then in the next episode, you could probably expect me to work on rune crafting a little bit, as I've got quite a bit of rune essence just sort of sitting, so I really want to start working on that. I don't think I've been attacked by a warband for quite some time, so that actually might happen while I'm trying to put things away, which would be kind of unfortunate. That's actually something I worry about quite often, that I'll be trying to put things away and they'll come in there and start, there we go, start smashing up all my chests, and we'll have a real problem on our hands at that point, because then my stuff's going to go flying everywhere. I don't really want to fight all these guys with range. It takes a ridiculous amount of time. So I think we're just going to switch to melee really quick here. It just makes it quicker. I don't really need melee XP currently. I guess I'm not at 1,000,000, but I don't think I'm going to need that much to be level 99. But you can see how much more smooth that was. Just sort of takes care of them, and then I don't really got to worry about it. And then there's going to be a second advancement coming over here. So I guess we can switch back to range to sort of work on these guys. But we don't have much HP also. So we've really got to be careful how we play this right now, because those rangers are going to be shooting at us, and we don't want to die to one of them. There's 3 of them, so we've got to be really careful here. And we're not angled correctly, so it wouldn't be too hard for them to kill me at this point. Just got to be careful. And we're getting bashed around. Hopefully we don't die. But even if we did, we're right by our body, so it's really not that big of a deal, but still would rather not. Okay, so he's gone. I really like the whip mechanic, or sort of the cinematic style of it. It's really cool. So let's go ahead and pull all this stuff out that we've got here. I guess I could pull out the rune essence and put it in the proper place. I just sort of want to put all this stuff away, and I think it looks really cool when we get to see how much stuff we've really got. It's really fun. That's one of the big benefits. Obviously, it takes quite a bit of time to acquire all this, but then when you put it away, you really get to see your work sort of shine. So it's quite nice. No coarse animal fur this time. But so much stuff. We were collecting flax for a really large amount of time. I think eventually that will pay off, that we collected all that flax. Obviously the swamp tar we were collecting for quite some time, and then that ended up paying off. So I think ultimately it's just good to have extra of things. You might not think it's a really big deal right now. Maybe you don't think you're gonna need it, but ultimately it turns out you will. So always good to have extra stuff. Let's move these. It's sort of bothering me. So I think for the most part, obviously we could pull it a little bit more out, but we've got these. I'm not going to do that right now. And then I will move this really quick. And then we're going to do an XP update. I sort of just want to get things a little bit more cleaned up. Not too crazy, but it's important to keep up on it. Otherwise, it's going to get completely out of control. And then that point, it's going to be an absolute disaster, and we don't really want that to happen, as it's happened in the past, and it's ridiculous. What's this? 13 of the Ica, and we've got all this. So, and we've got these vault shards and vault cores. Maybe we should just move these to put them with it. That kind of makes sense. Really trying to get things down so that way we're more organized in the game. It's really tricky. It really is. It wouldn't seem like it is, but there's also 95 more swamp tar there and some more of that. I'm not going to mess with it. We're just going to do an XP update really quick. But like I said before, next episode's going to be rune crafting. So 316,000 attack XP, 34,000 ranged XP, setting at level 48. Wood cutting 1,001,000 XP, construction 2,013,000, rune crafting 867,000, magic 122,000 XP, mining 4,201,000, artisan 4,122,000, and cooking 349,924. So obviously we're making quite good progress in the game. Hopefully you guys are as well. Hopefully you're lining up with the goals that you want to complete in the game. Hopefully you're enjoying the new update, and we're having a good time. Hopefully you are too. So until next time, Legion Looter out.